Below is as much var than student ID TRE 1600 3622, and this is my research methods for assignment on legal and ethical issues. Informed consent. Informed consent forms are used in order to gain permission from the client that they agree to the experiment and what's going to take place in the test. If this isn't signed by the participant, and then you can't run the test, as you will have no legal evidence that they agreed to everything in the test in case anything went wrong. Also, everything in the test needs to be included in the form consent, as if you give the client something that isn't stated in the informed consent, and then they can take legal or civil action over it, which will lead to a tribunal, and then you could receive bans or may never be allowed to conduct research again. This could be where you give a client steroids instead of caffeine to enhance their performance, without them knowing. Included in an informed consent form are the participants' details, which will be their date of birth or gender or age, the name and description of test, the protocol, a checkbox section enabling the participant to agree to take part, a statement confirming information will remain confidential, a section for signatures of the participant and tester, and a statement saying that the participant can drop out at any time. It is required when running a test with participants, as it must be given to them. Confidentiality. Confidentiality is where only information relevant to the study is published. This means that no personal information on the participants or nothing that is related to what is being tested can be given out or published. This is important as there may be information in the experiment about a participant which they may not want to be released and therefore must remain confidential. An example of what information can't be given out due to legality is names, as this then makes the people in the study identifiable, but gender and age can be given out as they don't make them identifiable, as a 17-year-old male could be anyone in the country that is 17 years old and male. Also, codes can be used to support confidentiality. For example, you could give people the names Participant A or Participant 1, 2 or 3. Confidentiality is ensured by the Data Protection Act 1998. This states that all data must be stored in a locked cupboard or cabinet, and only the relevant people in the study may be able to access this. This may be the person running the test or supervisors. Also, if the test is stored electronically, and then it must be secured by the use of a password. BASES. BASES stands for British Association of Sport and Exercise Scientists. They are responsible for governing research amongst sport and exercise scientists to ensure that all research is conducted legally and ethically. In order to ensure that this happens and no one crosses these boundaries, they produce the code of conduct for people to follow. The way to ensure legality is by confidentiality and informed consent. Legal/civil action. If you work without considering legal and ethical issues, and then there may be problems of legal or civil action. This is where a participant of the study you have ran can take you to a tribunal for not working legally or ethically. Advantages. Participants feel safer. This is good as if the legal/civil support for participants, it means that the researchers conducting the test are going to make sure that they are working whilst considering legal and civil issues. This is because if they don't, and they will have action taken upon them like a tribunal. This gives reassurance to the participants, as no researcher will want to go through a tribunal, as they will have bad consequences. Research can be more trustworthy. Like before, the researchers will not want to seek legal or civil action, and therefore they are going to give a good research that is true and reliable, in order to distinguish any sort of chance of facing civil or legal action by considering legal and ethical issues. Deters researchers from working illegally and unethically. This is because they are following guidelines that result in strict consequences. Their consequences could be not being allowed to conduct any research, as they can have a fine, ban, or suspension. This would mean that they could lose their job as a whole, and they would not want to take that risk, and therefore they will work legally and ethically. Disadvantages. can be prosecuted due to a simple error. This is bad because if the researcher makes a genuine error that is deemed to be unethical or illegal, and then they will have no word over what happened to them, as the participant can take legal or civil action over it, and the tribunal will decide their fate, even though it was just an error on their behalf. Participants may not know how to do this. This is bad because it means that a researcher could conduct a test which is completely illegal and unethical, but they may get away with it because the participants don't know how to report it. This would mean that the researcher may be able to keep conducting research that is unethical and illegal and get away with it, which isn't fair on the participants. Tribunals. If you work unethically and illegally, and then you can be sent to a tribunal where you'll be put on trial and essentially given a punishment. This can lead to results in the researcher not being able to conduct future research, which would be terrible for them as that is their job. Advantages. This ensures that we can trust research. This is good because it means that we can trust the research that is taking place, as participants will know that if they don't conduct it, as researchers will know that if they don't conduct it it ensures that we can trust research. This is good, so it means that we can trust the research that is taking place, as participants will know that if the researchers don't conduct it legally and ethically, then they are at risk of attending a tribunal and potentially losing their job for good. Research can be used in future studies. This is good because as tribunals keep researchers running tests ethically and legally, it means that research is more reliable and therefore can be used again and again in future studies. Further sporting performance. This is good because if the researchers' results are reliable, and then that means that there is a truth behind the test, and therefore they can look into what can enhance the participants' results legally and ethically. From here, they may find new things which will help the performance of athletes, which will give the country an upper hand in sporting performance. Improve reputation of British universities. This is good as it means that more people will trust the studies conducted by the universities, which will make more people want to be a part of the studies, making them grow and giving researchers the ability to further their research to find new things out. Disadvantages. It can take time to begin a tribunal. This is bad as it will take up the time of many people who have to be a part of that, who may have a better use for their time if the tribunal had never had to happen by researchers conducting legal and ethical research. It costs money. This is very bad as it is unnecessary for researchers to conduct research unethically and illegally, and then doing so also means that they waste money out of the country's economy by making the tribunal happen. A good defence can allow an unethical researcher to be innocent. This is bad as it means that a researcher who is defended well can get away with it with unethical and illegal research, meaning that they may do it again and again, which will harm the reputation of the research and also the tribunals, as the researcher isn't being punished due to him having a good defence. Sometimes someone who is not guilty can be found guilty. This is bad as it means that sometimes a researcher will be punished for not even conducting illegal or unethical research, which isn't fair. This may have an impact on researchers who decided they may not conduct research at the risk that they may be punished at a tribunal even if their research is fair. Future research. This is where your research may be reviewed before a tribunal to see if it is unethical or illegal by a group of BASES officers and the chair of BASES. From this tribunal, research can be stopped temporarily or permanently, such as temporary suspension or permanent expulsion from BASES. Advantages. Ensures that we can trust research. This is because researchers are members of BASES, and so they have to stick to the disciplinary guidelines, and if they don't, they are at risk of being suspended or banned. This means that they wouldn't want to take the risk of that happening. You can get a good researcher back on track. This is good because a researcher who is conducting research illegally and unethically may be temporarily banned. From this, they will learn a lesson, and then from then on, they will only conduct legal and ethical research, making them and their research more reliable. Protects the reputation of British universities. This is good because it shows that researchers at universities will be reliable, and the research will be reliable, as they would be suspended or banned otherwise if the research they were conducting was unethical or illegal. Those affected feel a sense of justice. This is good because it means that participants who have had unethical or illegal research conducted on them aren't completely hard done by, as the researcher has also had a form of punishment by being banned. A world-class researcher could get banned. This is good as it means that researchers aren't protected by a name or a status that they are world-class, and it means that any researcher who conducts illegal or unethical research may be banned or suspended. Disadvantages. A fine may not impact a big company. This is bad because if there is a big company conducting illegal or unethical research and they get fined, and then they aren't going to get put into place by it, as they can just easily pay it off, which may result in them conducting similar research again. Researchers may come back from a ban and still work unethically. This is bad because temporary bans only fix the problem for a short time, while they can't conduct research. This means that they need to be banned permanently in order to stop them from doing it completely, and to teach other researchers not to do the same thing. Punishments can be over the top. This is bad because it means that researchers can be punished too heavily when they might not have done something terribly wrong, or they may be undeserved of such bad punishments, meaning that sometimes the punishments are unfairly given out.